Hey, this is Dave from MetalEpidemic.com. Thank you for checking out our YouTube video. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button below if you like this type of content, and we hope you enjoy the review. What's up guys, Dave here from Metal Epidemic, back with another album review, and for this review Duncan Kyle and I have been checking out the new album from Japanese metal band Nemophila. The band's new extended version of Oiran will be released on June 25th via JPU Records. So, Nemophila formed in 2019, and at first I was pretty sure I'd never heard of this band before. But as I started kind of reading the press release, I noticed that one of the members, Saki, the guitarist, is actually in another band called Amiru, which is a band with ex-Dragon Force bassist Frederick Leclerc. And once I read that, I was like, wait a minute, now I definitely remember them. I've definitely seen something about them. So bits and pieces were starting to kind of come together. This exclusive overseas release includes their debut single, Oiran, all of its B-sides, as well as the band's entire catalogue to date. It's the first time the tracks have been available together as a single release, and also includes an exclusive English version of the latest track, Dissension. Since opening their YouTube channel in 2020, Nemophila have achieved over 10 million views across their original songs and covers. Their cover of The Trooper by Iron Maiden has been watched by more than 1.5 million. While their Cosplay cover of Kiss Detroit Rock City and Maximum the Hormones' Zetsubo Billy from anime Death Note have also passed 1 million views together. Maybe that's where we've gone wrong. Maybe we should do these reviews in like cosplay.
Yeah,
something
that's
to think
a great
about.
Idea. I quit.
Here's the thing. Here's the I'm just going to stress that. Here's the thing that doesn't work well with what you've just said. These reviews go out without our videos on them, and they're just audio. So we're literally just doing it for ourselves. It would be titillation for each other. Look at me, I'm Chung Lee this week. Yatai.
I don't know. I'm fucking into it.
You need to calm down.
Anyway,
check out my feather boa. I'm Elton John this week.
The press release that we received was, let's be honest, was pretty much written for one guy in this group. Death Metal Kyle.
Oh yeah.
No, it wasn't Kyle. It was actually our resident lover of all things Japanese, Duncan.
Yes, that's me.
That is you. I messaged you when this came in and asked if you'd heard of this band, and unsurprisingly you said, yes, of course,
I had their previous EP, yeah.
Yes, you have been fairly open and unashamed of your love for bands like Babymetal and other.
I love how you laugh at that when, like, you're at this stage now. You're in the minority, so.
Oh,
that's right. I'm popular now. I don't know how that happened.
You even went as far as saying you'd listened to the Dexcore album, which I think was maybe just a step too far, if I'm honest.
I want to stress I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
But there's part of me that is curious because we keep getting people on YouTube telling us to check out their other singles, and it's either because they don't like us, which is entirely possible, or it's because that was the worst thing they did and everything else was better.
God, it's a strong contender for the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah.
You've not listened to enough stuff.
Oh, I have. Trust me. Oh no.
So I think it's only right that we let Duncan take the floor and kick this one off. What did you think of this release?
So yeah, the previous EP is the Dissension EP, and that song's on here. So it looks like what they've done is they've taken Oiran and kind of smushed it together with Dissension into like this release that we have here. I mean, there's a couple of things that is probably worth saying about this band. All girl. I think that's something that I like to stress as well, because I don't think that's evident from the sound. Like Japanese musicians in general are of a pretty good quality, like a fairly high quality. We've mentioned this once before, maybe on one of these recordings. Over there, it's just part of the culture that people learn instruments at school, where over here people learn recorder. No practical application, unless you want to annoy your neighbours and your family. Over there they actually learn proper instruments, so you can, and it's all done through school, so people leave school relatively good musicians. And there is for a country as small as it is, they have a incredible music industry, although a lot of it is predicated on record labels making bands as opposed to people making bands.
Manufactured.
Manufactured. And that's just, like I say, it's part of the culture over there. I don't know where Nemophila fall in on that one, but it looks like from the very brief research I did when I was trying to age check them at the start here, which I want to stress, the drummer's 28, so 28, and the guitarist has been active as a recording guitarist since 2009. So just saying, did the math. Right, so anyway, it seems like these guys have been Dave's counting on his fingers for everyone that can't see. But yeah, so
we can safely assume he's 12 years old.
Yes. So the thing about the band is it looks like they've all been doing other things, and this may be one of these groups that's been kind of formed out of people that are already kind of maybe established musicians, And it sounds it, from my perspective, like the songwriting and the musicality on this one is on point. And the reason I kind of mention that they're, it's an all-girl band is I don't think there's any element in here that you would, female drummers, for example, there's usually a particular sound that comes with that. You can usually hear it, and there's a technique thing where it doesn't sound like a man's beating the shit out of the drums. But you would not know that here. She's pretty fucking rapid. The riffs themselves, whilst being commercially leaning for sure, have a bit of thrash oomph behind them, which I was kind of digging. Vocally, I think she's got a great set of pipes, Dave, set of pipes. And that she very, very easily switch up from screaming, although her screaming is aided with distortion effects, to her melody, which is in line with J-Rock. It's that J-Metal stuff where it has a certain key, a certain cadence, and it's incredibly hooky. So, I mean, that was the first thing that stood out to me, having heard the 3 or 4 tracks that are on Descension, and then coming back to hear these ones that kind of fit in between, was how, one, consistently they have just sorted out what their sound is, and 2, how they don't sound like Babymetal. And the thing is, there's a lot of bands coming out just now that sound like Babymetal, and the reason it sounds like Babymetal is because Babymetal sold all the records over there. So they don't have that. They're a bit edgier for sure. They've got a bit more grrr behind their attitude, but it is still very commercially written, kind of J-Rock, J-Metal stuff. You know what I mean? There's nothing in here that I have not heard other bands do, either in the West or in the East. As the big thing that I think is probably a marketing thing behind them is they're all incredibly talented at what they do. They're all women for a start. They all look very attractive, and that over there goes a long way. Actually, over here goes a long way as well. Having been at a Babymetal concert, it's
see, we should be doing this on video.
It's
missing a trick here, boys. We really are.
But the thing that I liked about it overall was, once again, this is not a challenging listen. This to me is very very much at times very formulaic, but it kind of fits that mold. You know, it's not as if the sort of music they're playing fits the formula of intro riff, verse chorus, interlude with a guitar solo back in, and they do that well. Unlike you, Dave, and we'll get your opinion, the fact that I don't know what they're singing about is not an issue to me at all. I almost feel like they've flung a little a wee English version in at the end just to make Davey happy on the single, but to me it doesn't affect it at all. I thought this was good. I don't think it's earth-shattering or groundbreaking at all, but I thought for what it was very well written, so yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, Kyle, the Dream Killer. Are you about to kill some dreams of some young Japanese metal band who clearly have Benjamin Button's disease? No, what do you think?
Well, for the only band I've ever seen that are aging backwards, maybe not. There is definitely some studio fuckery going on here. But, that being said, this stuff is like written to make you happy. I don't know how, but it just made me happy. Even though there's studio fuckery and even it was hard for me to get past that. The fact that like it's at the same time super bouncy, really positive, and thrash metal as fuck. Just like, how can you not like this? It brought a smile to my face, and I didn't expect it to when I read the thing, and I was like, okay, this is just going to sound like all those other Japanese bands, but it kind of doesn't. They kind of stand out on their own. Not that I've listened to a whole bunch of Japanese bands, let me be honest, but for the ones I have heard, they all share a similar trait. And then there was none of that on this. It was way more edgy, like Duncan was saying. It had some grit behind it, and it sounded like they're actually fans of metal in a metal band. It's a bit like that whole Babymetal thing where they sound good until they start singing. That's my opinion.
Disagree.
Of course you do. But I'm like, the band behind Babymetal are great. And then they start singing and it just turns me right off. I'm just gone. I say, okay, fine. But this band, they sound great. And then the vocalist comes in and it's better. And I'm like, all right, cool. So studio fuckery aside, there's not too much of it. There's quite a lot of organic elements as well. And it's not on every song, but then this is 2 EPs put together. So that could be it. So... But this might be some of the best Japanese metal I've ever heard. I'm not kidding. I really enjoyed it. Didn't expect to, but I did. And that song Dissension, I think I actually love it. It's really well written. And it's like, nah, it's not doing anything like groundbreaking, or they're not, bringing anything new. But what they're doing is really good. And they're doing it in a super good way. And it makes me smile. And how can you not like super bouncy, positive thrash metal?
You're about to find out when the
hold my beer.
When the Grinch that stole Christmas comes in. Kyle, I don't cry, but if I could, a tear of joy would be rolling down my cheek right now. Right, Dave. Right, Dave. Why do you not like it?
Well.
Oh, he's got a scroll. He's got a scroll, and he's written down these notes in ye old timey ink with a quill.
I don't think that's ink.
No, it's too bad. Yeah. Right, go on, Dave.
Where to begin? See, we just reviewed another album, where you said, like, you guys said you weren't picking up any, like, influences or sounds from the area or country they were from. Whereas this very much sounds like this band are from Japan.
Nobody does it.
Like, straight away.
Yep.
And I don't know what Japanese metal bands have this weird obsession with cramming as many styles as they can into one release. And even when I saw the For Fans Of thing on the press release that mentioned Babymetal, I knew going into this it wouldn't be a standard kind of metalcore type album. And I was right. This is metal. This is rock. This is pop. This is power metal at times. It is 100% what I expected from a band like this. Now, Duncan will know, and Kyle will know, I am not a fan of Babymetal. I've tried. I have tried many a time.
You have really tried. I think. I think you go in with that baggage, Dave. I don't think you go in with when arms were open.
Well, I have tried to get into them, but I just can't. Musically, the band, and I say that in inverted commas, the band.
It is a band. I don't know why we're inverting commas. It is a band in the background.
The musicians of the band,
yes,
are actually pretty good. They can play. The vocals, the theatrics, the dance moves is a hard pass from me. What I will say about Nemophila, this is a proper band setup. This is, they're all playing their own instruments. This isn't a bunch of singers with a backing band. I watched a few of the YouTube videos, and they can definitely play. Saki, the guitarist, is an unbelievable talent, and I can totally see why she would take up with Frederick Leclerc, because Dragon Force are also one of those bands that have a bit of a reputation for that kind of high-level musicianship. So that partnership between them makes sense. Stylistically, this is still a bit of a tough sell for me. And I totally understand this stuff sells really well in Asia. But for me, musically, it's kind of all over the place. Like, you go from Oiran, which is very metalcore based. You get your fast riffs, the drumming, lots of kind of vocal screams from Mayu. It's a very modern feel, complete with a breakdown and a catchy hook-laden chorus. Then it goes kind of more futuristic with a kind of Euro metal meets power metal vibe on Monsters, which is a chorus that wouldn't be out of place in a pop punk album. And then we've got more kind of traditional hard rock mixed with, there's almost like 80s style synths on Life, which is a very poppy, radio friendly chorus. So I'm like 3 tracks in and I've no idea what type of band I'm listening to. It could be 3 different bands. And the album kind of continues in that fashion, from like metalcore to power metal to rock, with a scattering of like pop heavy choruses. And I totally get this is the norm in Japan. This is just how these bands do things. But even though they can pull off all the different styles individually, it still feels a bit kind of disjointed to me when I'm listening to it. And in their defence, that may be because they're pulling a bunch of tracks from different releases, from different time periods of the band. So I could understand the release kind of jumping around a little stylistically if they were trying different things at different points in their career. Musically though, even when they do land on a track that is kind of more cohesive or a style that's more in my wheelhouse, it does feel a little bit too predictable. Like the track Dissension that Kyle was talking about, which they also do like an English version of. It's kind of like a mix of, like, there was moments of like Stone Sour in there. There was little elements of Babymetal in there, and New Year's Day is another one that I kind of picked up on. It's very paint by numbers in terms of the kind of formula and the cliches. It's even got the cheerleader type chants that Babymetal have done as well. You know what I mean? The track does have a good chorus though, so even though it's a little stock musically, the chorus did get in my head, so I'll give them that. And I think for me that's probably the kind of main positive for this release. I think vocally, I think it's very well executed. I think Mayu, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, she has a great melodic voice. She nails those big kind of anthemic type choruses, or those kind of, the kind of pop choruses, almost kind of Paramore-ish type choruses. And she's got a decent screaming voice. I think sometimes it's a little too heavy on the vocal effects for me, and they're very double tracked, the kind of screaming vocals. But I did watch the live videos, and she can definitely scream. There's no doubt about that. So, this is maybe just a kind of stylistic choice for this release, or for the production of the tracks, that they use those kind of vocal effects and stuff. As I said earlier, musicianship-wise, they're very good at what they do, and they can play live. They make it look very easy. But I can't say that they're going to convert me into a believer of this type of stuff. Unfortunately, I would be totally open to checking out their new release, or their next release, whenever it is, because as I said, some of the material is obviously a couple of years old, so their new material may be more refined. I doubt it, but I still will check it out when it comes out. And I will admit, even though I'm not the biggest fan of bands that sing in their native tongue, I've mentioned this before, just because I've no idea what they're singing about, I didn't actually mind this too much. I think she has a very good voice, and even though I don't know what she's singing about, the melodies were very catchy. So yeah, musically, it's very varied between the genres, but individually, it's nothing I haven't heard done before. So yeah, it hasn't converted me, unfortunately, but it was a good attempt. Ratings. What you guys thinking for the ratings of this one? Duncan, what are you thinking?
Dave. One day we'll sit down and explain the many levels in which your review was just wrong there. I'll bring a flip chart, a laser pen, maybe a PowerPoint presentation. I might push the boat out. No, I hear what you're saying. A couple of things. I don't pick up much Babymetal in this at all. I think Babymetal sound heavier.
That last track was soaked in Babymetal.
I think Babymetal sound a lot heavier, and I would also stress that Babymetal isn't just three people at the front with like rotating musicians in the back. The guys in the background have been there since the beginning, and they hired the singers. Very much like Linkin Park hired Chester Bennington. We don't sit there and say, oh well, it's all Chester and the rest of the band. That's how that works. Granted, the label set that up and picked the session musicians to be the back, but they write all the music. I would also say
I don't have any issues with them, not at all.
I'll also say I don't necessarily think it was cheerleader vocals they were going for. I think it was gang vocals. I just think their voices are naturally higher pitched, so it sounds like cheerleaders. You know what I mean? Definitely, to me, it was gang vocal vibes as opposed to try to be saccharine or kind of poppy. That aside, PowerPoint presentation, laser pen. No, I mean, I do hear what you're saying. Like the music over there is an amalgam of everything, and the reason they do that is they want to hit as many markets as possible over there. They want to have it played on every radio station, and that comes with you either can code switch with what you're listening to, or it becomes a bit disjointed. So I can completely see where you're coming from. I think the thing that all three of us kind of agree on is there's nothing on here that's necessarily wholly original or earth-shattering about what they are doing, which is why I come in with a 3.5 for it. I've heard this stuff done before by many bands over there and over here. So I've heard this sort of stuff all done before. They are very good at what they do. I will definitely check out the next release from them. But you can tell from what you were saying about their cover songs, they're doing stuff from Maximum is the Hormone. They're a new metal band in Japan, right through Iron Maiden. So that they're clearly just influenced by fucking everything. So and that shows in their music. I wouldn't disagree that maybe a bit more of a cohesive sound throughout. Even Babymetal's went that way. Babymetal's first album had fucking techno and everything in it, like EMSR music and whatnot. And now on their last album, a lot of that stuff is there, but it's not really there, if you know what I mean. And they've kind of doubled down on the metal side of things. I think if they did a bit more of that, they can certainly write songs, and she has a great voice, and the guitar work is fucking great. Like, it was at least one solo on there where I was like, that's blistering. I've not checked out their live videos, so the fact that you say that she's doing that live and it makes it look easy, I mean, credit where credit's due. But 3.5, yeah.
Okay. Kyle?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Great stuff. Really fun. 3.5.
Excellent. A tough one.
Say it.
Music, as I say, musically they're very good at what they do. Just stylistically, it wasn't my bag. It's a little bit too all over the place for me. But I don't necessarily think they're a bad band, and I think vocally they're very good. My initial instinct when I listened to it was a 3, so I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna go 3 out of 5. Okay, so this one drops on June 25th on JPU Records. Let us know what you think. If you've heard any of their previous work or any of the singles, drop some comments in below. Happy to hear your thoughts and opinion on it. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.
So